we've come to the end of September. There are 2 days left. Today, Thursday, the 29th, and tomorrow, the 30th. And I still have 2 prompts to complete. I wasted a few days. Because Wednesday was my book club and the book was not a shorty. So I wanted to spend Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday focusing on that. I did not. Turns out I was very busy on those days. Barely got started on it. So I skipped my book club. We are reading When Women Were Dragons. I think that's the title, by Kelly Barnhill. And so I've barely started it, and it is very interesting. It's kind of slow and repeaty, but I think I like the premise. So I decided to skip book club because I don't want to be spoiled for it. I do want to read it. But that means I wasted all week on what that could have been spent doing my shorty reading. Okay, so Ray Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451. This is going to be my modern classic. A few years ago, I started reading Ray Bradbury as like an October tradition, so this is just going to be a little early start to that. Fahrenheit 451. This, everyone has read. I think when I was in high school, you had a choice of reading between like a few dystopian classics, and I picked Cat's Cradle instead of this. I think that's why I've gotten this far without having read this book. So this is about book censorship. So like it just feels like this is the time. The time is now. It's perfect. I need to get this one under my belt. Guy Montag is a fireman whose job it is to start fires, and he enjoyed his job. He had been a fireman for 10 years, and he had never questioned the pleasure of the midnight runs or the joy of watching pages consumed by flames, never questioned anything until he met a 17-year-old girl who told him of a past when people were not afraid. Then Guy met a professor who told him of the future in which people could think, and Guy Montag suddenly realized what he had to do. So in this, they burn books. There's like very little like talking and communicating like between people. Everyone's kind of in, like, his wife is in her own like world with, like, she constantly has like this like earbuds basically that just like drown out reality, and she's like caught up in, I assume it's like I get the vibe of like a soap opera constantly playing, and that's just like separating her from like her mundane reality. He does a really good job at creating this like terrifying future that does not feel very future. It feels very now, especially now with conservative book censorship bullshit. Okay, hi, freeze frame. To add, there is a monologue in this book that kind of reveals like why we do this book burning thing in the first place, and then even at the end in the like Q&A or like afterward from Ray Bradbury himself, in which there's almost like this anti-woke kind of tone that I really want to believe if today was then, Ray Bradbury would have taken a different approach to getting his point across, maybe, worded a little differently. Yeah, it's a little troublesome. He has a quote that says, "There is more than one way to burn a book," and that rang familiar because I think there was some like anti-woke, anti-political correctness kind of tweet that kind of paraphrases and said there is more than one way to ban a book, talking about minority groups finding things offensive and not wanting that in publishing. So there is some tricky territory to navigate when considering this book and Bradbury's purpose. But like I said, I really, really, really want to think the best of him.
I'm like halfway, maybe a little less, through Fahrenheit 451. I think I did a really shit job of explaining it this morning. Basically, it is a dystopian. It was written in 1953. Not sure what year it is meant to take place in. I know it's post 1990 because he mentions having won like 2 atomic wars since 1990. In this world, America seems to be cut off from everyone else, or like the American citizens anyway. Reading is not only discouraged, it is straight up illegal. Owning books is illegal. And instead, there's like these walls, and so my understanding is that it's kind of like a media wall that people like install, and just to have like constant noise. And so Montague's wife, Mildred, she refers to them as the family, and like she loves them. She's obsessed with the fights that are being had, the flashy, sparkly entertainment. They're just the conversation that's always in the background and just totally distracting her from her own life. And in that way, it reminds me of the movie WALL-E, where the humans like have destroyed Earth, and are now living in like this space station, and everyone has their own little hoverboard and their own screen that's always in front, and the marketing is like directed right at them, and it's like instant marketing, instant like they're like, try the pink drink, and everyone's like okay, and they just hit the buttons, and like it's just this like big push, and everyone's connected in that way. And so that's what I'm reminded of reading this, the way she interacts with her walls and screens, and like they've gone into debt to have like multiple ones of these, so she's like just surrounded by her shows basically. He is coming to realize that there might be more to life and a more connection to be had. Like the people who wrote these books that are now illegal were real people who lived real lives. So what do they have to say? And is that more valuable than the experience they're living now? Like he's heard rumors of people starving, but like here they're well fed. He's heard rumors of like other unfavorable conditions that people are living in, but like here that's not the case. And so are they rumors? Is it true? Like should he care? And is reading and written language a way to connect to all those experiences? Bradbury's writing has this feeling of like isolation to me. Like the characters just seem to be fumbling and like figuring things out on their own, kind of like one against the world. And that is very unsettling. So there's something about his books that just kind of burrow into me and make me uncomfortable in a good way, a way that I like, because it's making me think. It's scary in a real way. So you see, I've made a few little notes of some lines or excerpts that I like, but I'm just going to share this one line I just read. It says, oh no, I can't find it. Where the heck did it go? Oh, why we need books and we need knowledge. The books are to remind us what asses and fools we are. And I feel like that speaks so much to, well, it really builds on a line from earlier. Hold on. So now do you see why books are hated and feared? They show the pores in the face of life. The comfortable people want only wax-moon faces, poreless, hairless, expressionless. We are living in a time when flowers are trying to live on flowers instead of growing on good rain and black loam. And my gosh, if that just doesn't speak to how ridiculous the idea of banning books because they make you uncomfortable, because they might make us feel bad, or we don't want the white kids to feel bad about being white. Like, we need stories, we need knowledge, we need experience, and we need it to call us out.
Another freeze frame here to point out that the monologue I mentioned earlier being kind of like anti-woke and this quote I just read out loud are coming from two characters on like opposite sides of the plot, one for book burning and the other for book sharing. And so that's where I have faith that Bradbury's message is the right message. There is a difference in getting rid of books that make you uncomfortable and in asking to have proper representation. So there's a difference, and it's a tricky topic to read into, and so I really wish we could have Bradbury's take on this now in 2022. It got way too dark to read in the car towards the end of Oliver's baseball practice, so I'm going to finish this up now because the kids should be going to bed. And then Nate and I will watch Bones. So before we put that on, I might sneak in a page, and I'll definitely be able to finish up once we get in bed. Just trust me that I finished this book. I'm getting into bed now, and I have about like 10 pages left. I'm going to end the vlog here. If there's any like earth-shattering revelation, I'll wait, but I think I'm just gonna, yeah, like I said, end the vlog. This would be my 11th book for Shorty September. Did really enjoy it. I like Ray Bradbury's writing. I need to like plot out the dates, like the publication dates of all like these dystopian novels, just to kind of see how they bounce off each other. And I can only imagine that Lowry was inspired by Bradbury. There's more this tone of like sacrificing knowledge for the sake of peace, more peace of mind, and so sacrificing open communication, sacrificing knowledge, and empathy and awareness for the sake of comfort. That's all in here, just like it is in The Giver. Um, there was a point where I was reading and thinking, like, I obviously have 1984 in mind because the character in this starts reading or like exposes having books on his person that made him sound like a flasher, but whatever. He lets it be known that he has books in his possession, and I'm just the whole time like, whoa, okay, I guess this isn't like 1984 where like everyone's ratting each other out. Maybe there is still a sense of like loyalty among the civilians. No. Nope, he shouldn't have been so loosey goosey with his books. One more observation I'm going to come back with is I like the idea of a return to stories told in an oral tradition when literacy or written stories are not available, but continuing to share knowledge and stories in an oral tradition. I feel like we're back where we started with Shorty September. If you were here with me, the first books I read were The Epic of Gilgamesh and Beowulf. There turns out to be quite the big ending, and I think it really is telling of at the time of writing, a major concern was this possibility, threat of war, and a new style of war, and what that means. So it's here, and it was a big part of a lot of the stories in The Illustrated Man as well. That's my denim shorts modern classic. What am I going to do for a beach read? What am I going to do? That's a problem for tomorrow, the last day of Shorty September. I'll see you then.